Welcome back to Daybreak. It is about 7:28 now, and 1 in 10 Caymanians is out of work. That's according to data collected by government in 2012. If you happen to be one of those people, we're joined by a job search expert who has advice that can help you get work. Phil Blair, job search expert and author, is here on set. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure being here.
So you have some really interesting information that you can share, and you have been sharing kind of in your profession for quite some time now, seeing the trends in the market, seeing kind of what some key obstacles are that people face in searching for a job. So tell us a little bit about your background before we head into the tips.
Well, I will. My business partner and I own franchises of Manpower Temporary Service, so we see lots of hiring coming and going. And our largest community operation is San Diego, California. So it's a very dynamic workforce there. But a lot of people are looking for work. A lot of people want to move to San Diego, just like they want to move to Cayman. And so we see a lot of job searchers coming in. And temporary help is a wonderful way to get your foot into the door for any company. But if you're looking for a permanent job, there are really some key things you need to do. And these really work especially for college graduates that are looking for work, but they really apply to anybody. And as soon as you're aware of them, you know how to use those tools to find a job.
And I think it helps to, you know, to be able to get this information because people leaving college might never have had a full-time position before, and so might not be able to see things from the employer's perspective and understand, okay, what is going to put me at an advantage here? Do you think that, I mean, when I was in college, they told me, be prepared to learn the lines, do you want fries with that? Because of how the market was kind of, you know, people weren't getting jobs. It's like, you have a college degree, but that doesn't guarantee you a job in, you know, in the firm that you want to be in, or, you know, at a particular level of pay. So tell us a little bit about what you would say to people who are in that position.
Well, I think the most important message they need to learn is, as an HR professional, we don't look at your resume just from college graduation on. We go back to what you've done in high school. Did you do a lot of volunteer work? Did you have internships? Did you job shadow? Did you start to build your resume through your college experience, whether it was 2 years or 4 years? Because that is indicative to us of the type of employee you're going to be. Do you have a high energy level? Do you get involved? Are you active? And if you say, well, I spent every summer on the beach, or I worked on in San Diego at surfing, yeah, I worked on my surfing and my golf, that's not a very good sign that you're going to be a great high-energy, motivated employee. When you're competing with people who have been very involved in internships and volunteer work. So they need to start doing that. And they especially need to start doing networking.
Right.
80% of the jobs in this job economy, which is very tough still, as you see, 1 out of 10 Caymanians is out of work, is networking. It's people you know who know people who know people. So when someone is hiring at a company, they first want to go to people either they know already, instead of going to a job board and just getting hundreds of responses, which is almost a waste of time. We tell people do it, but that's not where you're going to get a job. Right,
absolutely. You got to think like the employer, and the easiest way to get a very talented, kind of high performer is through a network of people who are already performing in that way, right? So talented people know talented people. And so working your referral network is a great advantage.
It does. And remember, it's not, sometimes people say, but Phil, I only know so many people. I've been in college or I've been working. It's not who you know. You get the chain going. It's who you know that knows somebody, that knows somebody, that knows. And you just keep going. All you need is someone to say, a friend of mine told me about a friend of theirs, and here is their resume.
And they're a great candidate. They're going to be a superstar. Exactly. So some of the words that you're saying make me think, okay, there's a difference here between the two things that employers are looking for: ability to do the job, but also the attitude factor, kind of the will.
It is the energy level, the attitude, the personality. I can teach you the skills of just about any job. I don't expect you to land in my company with the exact skills from my business, but I can't teach you attitude. That has to come from you, and it has to come across in the interview. So the interviews, you fight to get an interview, and you've got to practice, you've got to be prepared, you've got to be on your game, because you're a salesperson, and you're playing a role just like in a play. And if you don't come across with this energy, having done your homework, you know what the company does, you know the energy of the company, you know its corporate culture, you're dressed appropriately, and you're interviewing well, and you're following up appropriately. I call it polite persistence. Tell me, if I'm interviewing, that you want the job. At the end of the interview, Don't walk out and me wonder, I wonder if she wants the job or not.
Yeah.
Make sure I know you want the job.
Absolutely. And sometimes I think that's a great point, because people feel like, well, I'm bothering them if I follow. You have to know, you have to have a strategy, right, for keeping in touch.
It's part of the test. If I interview a great candidate, then I sit back and see what the polite persistence follow-up is. How bad do they want this job? Because when I hire them, at some level, they're going to be dealing with some level of customer of mine.
Right.
And I want to see how politely persistent they are to get the order or to get the work done if they're a manager of a department. So that all has to come through in the interview. And you need to study it. That's why I wrote the book, Job One, is people need to know what HR is looking for, what our expectations are, and how they need to deliver those.
Absolutely. And, you know, the attitude in the interview, it's an indication of how engaged you're going to be on the job. Now, Phil, we're out of time. I could sit here and chat with you all day,
Yeah.
I think. Very, very interesting topic. So you mentioned your book. Where can people find that?
Amazon.com is the easiest way to get it here in the Cayman Islands. It's called Job One by Phil Blair. And it's anybody that's looking to get back in the job market or into it for the first time ought to read it, because it's lots of hints from HR's point of view.
Yes.
And that's really all that matters
Right,
as
absolutely.
HR professionals.
Yeah, it does. You're right. And so great advice, like you said, in that book. Kind of a valuable resource for anyone, not just the college grads, but people looking
Correct.
for jobs. One more tip you had was Google yourself. Really important tip. So we can't chat about
Facebook,
that
clean
now,
up
but
your Facebook page.
social
I
media,
will go to
very
your
important.
LinkedIn page and your Facebook page. Clean those up.
Exactly.
You can put them back on after you get the job, but clean them up.
Know that people are going to be able to find you on the internet. All right. Thanks again, Phil.
My pleasure.